Hello everybody! Welcome to ZeldaSpeedRuns, broadcasting the Skyward Sword 80% Tournament Grand Finals between Kitcot and Lepelog. Commentating for us is Peppernicus. Say hello everybody!
Hello! And welcome from me as well for the Grand Finals of Skyward Sword. And I guess if everything is ready, we can get started. So it looks like lepelog is not going for the optimal one-character file name. Technically, a one-character file name saves a few frames every text box because the text doesn't scroll as long if the name is shorter. So Lepe is confident that he doesn't need the frames. Oh, maybe he is rethinking his decisions. Who knows? So yeah, this is a grand finals. lepelog has been fighting his way up again after he got put down into loser brackets, and he's now once again fighting against Kitcot. So we have a disadvantage on Lepe's side because he actually plays on the English version, and since this game does not have any instant text, you lose a few seconds, maybe more. It depends on the text from text scrolling, so that can be quite hard for him to keep up, so he needs to do his best. There are also two different routes because the English version has a different route that is faster because of skipping text is so important. So you will see two different routes here. In general, Kitcot has quite the advantage because there's a lot of text in this game. But right here you can see Kitcot is talking to Fledge and Lip is just leaving. And that is because the route Kitcot is using actually needs the flag that Fledge gives him. So there's no other benefit than there's... Now the game has saved something that the text has been used, so that flag will be useful later. For now, it's going to be a little bit of a tutorial to start with. So in this game, since there's a stamina meter, it's very important to manage your stamina, and you will both runners see to try to optimally run and roll. So the best, obviously, using your stamina is better than just walking. So want to try to always run if you can, and rolling technically is one frame faster than running, at least outdoors, because indoors you're way slower. But outdoors it's one frame. So basically, whenever they can roll, they will try to roll, and especially they'll try to roll into fruits with like almost depleted stamina, so they can like directly regain everything. So that's quite useful. So if it's like a long walk, like right here, they will try to like almost get it depleted and then refill it to about one quarter, because the last quarter of the stamina meter refills faster. So that's what they're gonna try. So right here, Kitcot is going to do a safety save because he is actually attempting a 2-frame cutscene skip. So that's why he's now making a backup save if he's missing it, that he can rely on that save to die with. Because normally, if he missed that cutscene skip, it would cost him a lot. So, yeah. He has that backup save now set. Lepe doesn't need it. He's probably going for the safer route that doesn't do the cutscene skip. So if Kitcot misses the cutscene skip, he's behind, but if he gets the cutscene skip, he's ahead. So Lepe is now going to die for the first time, and he's gonna activate the glitch that is really important to Skyward Sword. It's the big thing, and he can actually start back in time. So he's basically continuing and resetting. Right there, you can see it, and he basically spawns on. Basically, the game wants to respawn him because he pressed continue, and then he resets. So he is on the title screen. So he ends up spawning on the title screen. On the other hand, Kitcot is getting the practice sword to rescue the Loftwing. So right here, Bongi's tree on Lep's end opened the gates for him because the flag was set on his file. So that's why the gates opened. Basically, applying it to Back in Time is with like activating any scene change. So right here we are saving and saving and deleting at the same time. So basically, the file gets deleted after it gets saved. So it's basically a file saved with like only zeros in it, which is really helpful if you want to die. It's a little bit slow, but the moment you start the file, since the health is at 0, you directly die. So that can be useful, especially with Back in Time in mind, because you need to die to activate it. And Lepe will now do the first version of reverse bit magic, so he will get this goddess sword, and the moment he gets it, he will start his file. So basically the game is already thinking he's playing on his file, so he starts before he gets it. That's when like the Skyward Strike gets hit, you get the sword, and he starts right before that, and then the sword gets applied to file 1, because the game thinks he is playing on file 1 since he started it beforehand. So that way you can get basically in the last second while it's loading, you can do an action or more than one action and get these flags from it. So for example, getting the goddess sword like that. You don't see it right away, but now after this cutscene you will see it. Because it needs like one reload to actually show up. But he already had it, it just didn't show up. So Kitcot, and he got the practice sword. Lepe actually has to get the practice sword as well. So it's gonna be that's the problem with the any percent route, because you actually need a practice sword for flag reasons. Again, the same like talking to Fledge. It doesn't really do anything for like looking at it, but in the end it gives you values you can use in Back in Time. Because as you saw earlier, we can use all 3 files in Back in Time, and all of these can activate things in Back in Time. So we basically need to make sure that they are like the right files and have the right setup. So it's really important to get the right files on each slot, otherwise this route doesn't work. So that's why we need a practice sword for later with references. I'll say it again if it comes up. So right there, since Kitcot is going for the cutscene skip, he's actually taking damage in the cave. So if he gets the cutscene skip, he can directly die. Lip, on the other hand, already has a file that directly dies. He made that in his last bit, so he doesn't need to do that. So he doesn't damage down in the cave. So next up is going to save the Loft Wing. So give it some precise strikes, trying to not use all of your stamina. You can get the Loft Wing freed quite fast. So yeah, you can see there perfectly like depleting your stamina is basically how you want to do it. So like cutscenes and other stuff, and like checking statues resets your stamina. So that's also something people will look out for, so they'll try to roll into a cutscene or something. So yeah, and now it's gonna be a little bit of a Loft Wing tutorial, and I hope you like it, because gonna see it more than once. So yeah, because this sky layer is actually the only layer that doesn't crash in Back in Time. So I didn't mention it yet, but there's a lot of things in Back in Time that crashes. So if you see players like doing weird things, they're probably trying to avoid crashes and stuff. So basically almost everything outside of the layer you spawn in crashes at the start. So you have to have a very precise setup to get everywhere where you want to be. Because the thing Lepe did earlier with RBM actually is also possible. So he did a flag that is like a global flag. So the goddess sword, for example, is always going to be the same. It's like a global item that doesn't have any different meaning on different places. Oh, Kitcot got the 2-frame side up. That's amazing. So he is getting ahead with that because he was playing it risky. So now he can activate bit. That was a good job by him. So Lepe, on the other hand, will just start his the corrupted file, is what we call it, the deleted and saved file, and he will die directly. But Lepe still has to do the practice sword RBM because he didn't get it earlier. So as I was trying to say earlier, there are like global flags and area-specific flags. So global flags is everything that is always the same no matter where you are, and then there are like area-specific flags. They are in each area have a different meaning, and we will be able to manipulate them both. But area-specific ones have way huger impact, and you will see later why. So now Kitcot is going for a reverse bit warp into the goddess statue. So basically he is starting his file and then entering a loading zone. So basically the action of loading is done while he's starting his file 1. So the game's like, okay, you're just about to enter with file 1. So it just loads in normally. So they're technically two different ways. So because he was saved at a prompt, he just entered normally. So a prompt basically has no coordinates connected to it. So he'll just enter the area normally. But if he if he was saved on a statue, he would load at the coordinates where the statue would stand on the new map. So you will see that later as well. So trying to take him, I'll explain it a little bit more in detail then. For now, we have to look at Lepe getting the practice sword. So basically, like the goddess sword, starting at the time that you get the item. So basically, this text box closes and he gets the item. So now he has it on file 1. And again, he needs it because of flags. So there's no other reason than flags for it, which is unfortunate because otherwise there would be some time save here, but we need it later. It saves more time than it loses. So yeah, now Kitcot got the Farron pillar and is ready to go there. So we basically skipped the whole wing ceremony. Kitcot did it with the side hop out of the cutscene and Lepe just with dying. So normally this goddess statue is not supposed to be open, but on the layer on the title screen it actually is open. So that's how both players were able to get there without the fight chase. So and the sailcloth. Actually, interesting thing, the sailcloth actually is the thing that opens up the other places in the Knight Academy. So normally, right now, or like in this whole game, basically in this whole run, these doors won't be open. But luckily, we have never to enter there. But if we had to, for example, for the spiral charge, we had to get the sailcloth. So luckily, we don't need that, so we can just skip it. We have to remember though that yeah, so we have to remember though that this is any percent run, so other runs might have to get the sailcloth. And we also, since we skip the sailcloth, we get more damage everywhere we fall down, so it's also something. But low health is good for us anyway because we want to die. So that's also how, by the way, why we are playing on hero mode at the moment. I didn't really mention it because most of you probably already know, but hero mode allows you to skip cutscenes and do more damage with your Skyward Strike, and you also take more damage, which is also a plus actually for us, so because dying is important. So yeah. So this what Kitcot is doing right now, diving into the Farron Pillar, is actually skipping a fight text. So this allows him to skip some fight text that appears if he is on his left wing. It can't play while you're diving. So that's what he is doing right now. So you can see slow text on Lepe's side. Nice English. For some reason they just wanted to let English scroll slower. It just feels so much slower. By the way, why Lepe fall down there is because he actually tries to get the left loading zone. So that's basically like a loading zone that is closer to Farron, and since he wants to go to Farron, he tries to get like a left angle of the platform. But it can cost you falling down, and that is a 10 second, 20 second time loss, which is sad. But basically you try to get to the left side to load the other sky area. So yeah, I'm alone today, but I think I can handle this because I already had to commentate the exact same race alone, so I think I got this. So yeah, Lepo also doing the 5 cutscene skip. So right there you can see like the difference here is basically the text and the cutscene skip that Kitcot did. So that is what makes the time difference happen right now. So for now, since our setup is pretty bad, we have one file copied so far. I didn't say what it basically like an early game state right after saving the Love Wing. And that is because the early game file actually has a lot of valuable flags and also a valuable game state. So in order to get like a certain game state in back in time, you need to have the right file for it, because you can only apply stuff from your files and nothing else. So having an early game file allows us to get more flags and also to get to more places, because the early game there's not much stuff loaded and not much actors going around, so back in time doesn't crash as often, which is very useful. See you later. But for now, this is not enough to do back in time efficiently. So, and you have to remember that dying takes quite a lot of time, because you have to take damage, then you have to watch the death screen, and then you have to like wait out once in on Skyloft, and it's like a lot of time before you actually can get control of Link. So we'll try to only use it for like bigger things, and or if you have a good setup. So we don't have any of these things at the moment, so this is what we'll have to do. So again, this is like gonna be a little bit less exciting, but still there's gonna be some stuff they have to do. For example, getting this beacon. Let's see if Kitcot gets it. So he's trying very carefully, because if you don't miss it, you get a bunch of. If you miss it, you get a bunch of text, which is annoying, especially on English. We'll see a very slow English text coming up if Lep is talking to Impa. It's insanely slow. It's crazy. So yeah, that technically is always so basically back in time can do almost everything you kind of wanted to do. So there's technically stuff you can like skip here, but it will end up being slower to do so. So that's why we're not doing it. So basically what I was talking in earlier was that there's like global flags and area specific flags, and the area specific flags are stronger because we do something in Skyloft and it does something completely different where we are saved at. Basically, after starting, the game will think that you're on file 1, so it basically also thinks you're on the map for it. So it basically just loads all stuff from the map and also the area specific flag and applies it there after you like did some stuff. So after it applies there, you basically have like a completely different effect from what you did in Skyward in back in time. That's probably the most confusing thing about this game. So you see people do like goddess sword RBM, which is kind of obvious. You like get the sword and like start beforehand, and that's why you get it on your file. But area specific is a little bit more complicated, because you're actually like doing something completely different, because the flag means something completely different on another map. So for example, talking to Fledge, the flag we took earlier is a area specific flag, because obviously not every map needs to remember that you talk to Fledge, only Skyloft needs to. So on other maps it does something completely different, and that is actually the use of it later. So getting it early, it's now basically saved on our early game file, and we can use, if we apply the flags of the early game file, we'll get that to take an effect in a bit. So that's very good. Right here, by the way, you can also see the power of the Skyward Strike. I didn't say how strong it was. It's basically the true Master Sword Skyward Strike, so extremely powerful. It's important to not hit them with your sword part, because then it does normal Goddess Sword damage, because for some reason they only empowered the Skyward Strike and not the part of the sword. So your sword still does normal damage, so you need like 5 hits or so to kill, or like 3 maybe. But that's really bad. So trying to only hit with your goddess Skyward Strike is important. So yeah, doing the Kikui rescue, and there's maybe something I can talk about, which I saw Kitcot and Lepe got a few times. So basically, after you like deplete your stamina and you enter a cutscene, if you actually get the first frame roll, which is maybe not frame perfect, but close to it at least, you will get a red stamina meter. So if you ever see like a red stamina meter on either runner's end, you know they did a good job and they got the first frame roll, saving those frames. It's also we'll also try to like start with a roll, because a roll directly gives you like full speed. Normally, like if you were just running, Link is like getting speed on moving. Yeah, Lepe is he's the Paul winner at the moment. Actually, not sure if anyone else played Paul in this tournament. Now that I think about it, there's some English people with the English version, but no Paul version. So Lepe has it's definitely first there. So yeah, Lepe is also going to fall behind now because of all the text that is happening right there. So especially at the start, he will fall behind a bit, but later there's not as much text. So the first part is basically where like a lot of text is happening, a lot of tutorial, a lot of fi. So yeah. We'll also like when we run up ledges, which are like at a height where Link sometimes grabs them, we'll try to like be at the very edge, so Link can't grab them and just runs up. So that's sometimes why people are at the very edge of a platform and then run up. So PAL is basically the same as Japanese. The problem is though that the text is way slower. For some reason they did the text scrolling slower, and also obviously that it's just slow in general because there's more words and more like more stuff to show. And there's also yeah, so that's basically the big thing. And there's like one little thing I might add on this. So there, if you have like the American version of this game, there's actually like a version only trick, and it also has a version only route. So that's also interesting, but we don't see that today. We do see 2 different routes, but they're not too different. They're mostly the same, except for like 2 parts. If there would be like an American play, it's gonna be a lot of different things. So I'm glad it's not the case. So right now we're going on to the one of the last Kikuis. So this is Erler. Actually, all the Kikuis are named after tea. Interesting fact. And every Mogma is named after an ore. So that's also interesting. So right there we try to not hit all of the grass with a Skyward Strike, because if you hit like more than like half, the Kikui will start moving. So you definitely want to avoid that. Otherwise, it takes longer to talk to him, and that loses time. So right here, we get this log down, so that you can see if you start a cutscene and then the stamina depletes, the push still gets continued to the end. So we'll use that log later, so that's why we're placing it down here right now. This is the last Kikui. This is Olo. Don't ask me why I know all those names. So yeah. After he got all of them, he can talk to the Kikwi Elder. So technically, never the Kikwi Elder never ask him to find the Kikwis, but you can just find them anyway. You don't need to talk to him first. It does allow you to skip a lot of text, so that's why we do it, obviously. Yeah. I also know all the names. So we have Erla, Lopsa, Olo, Yabal, and the Kikwi Elder. Damn it, I don't know his name. So, and Machi, of course, the first one. Kikwi Elder. What's his name, dude? They're not. That's sad. Puka, that's true. Thank you. That is his name. So right there you can do the side hop to get the slingshot and land on the ground directly. So right here there's actually a text where the Kikwi Elder thinks you shot down this vine with a slingshot because this is how you're supposed to get it down. But you can actually like roll at the base down there where we were at the Machi chase, and it allows you to get it down early. But the Kikwi Elder actually thinks that he has he shot it down with the slingshot. Right now he is trying to get the I guess Kitcot is probably going for the frame perfect fight text skip with fight text. So basically, he didn't get it. So basically, the moment you shoot the vine, if you call Phi, you actually don't get this text, but a different fight text, which is faster. Yeah, there's the one that no one knows about because basically no route is ever going there. It's Yabal. And yeah. But no one ever sees this in a run, in any run. Even 100% skips him. Yeah, let's hope that the RNG trick works out this time. So he's going to attempt a RNG trick. He first needs to stun those Bokoblins so they don't move from their original position. And he'll try to hit them out of bounds and get a final blow in. This was a low bounce, so that's why it didn't work. So there's basically three different knockback distances, and you can only make a setup for one of them, obviously, because it's just a precise spot. So if he would have gotten the right knockback distance, he could have get a final blow, and the Bokoblin was already counted as dead. So there was no place. The game knew where to. The game has no idea where to jump. So it puts you at 0-0-0 since the stuff is out of memory. The Bokoblin stuff. Oh, he's having trouble with the. This is his last hit here, so he needs to get the Goddess Cube up there. Oh, and pressing A to talk to him. That is Lepe getting some time back right here. So right there, he tries to get the Skyward Strike at an angle so it hits the Goddess Cube above, and the cutscene of the Goddess Cube actually puts you up there. So that's how you can like skip all of this part where he's moving at the moment. So yeah, that is unfortunate. Yeah. He got a little bit. The Bokoblin, I think, was a little bit too close. Like, no, too far, probably, because he actually. Oh, that was scary. He was jumping down. Imagine if he didn't get it. Well, yeah. So, Cube Warp basically only works because the Skyward Strike range is far enough. This is actually something I didn't mention yet. The Skyward Strike range is actually longer. It's the range of the True Master Skyward Strike. So it goes longer and can actually hit the Goddess Cube. So right there, he did this like weird jumping to the left and a jump slash. It's basically a very precise jump to skip the fight text in front of the temple. So that's a good time save, especially for English. On Lepus side, you can now see that the kick wheel is actually thinking he shot down the vine with a slingshot, because now you can actually read it. At least most of you hope. And he still explains it for some reason, because he is games just really likes to explain things. So yeah, Kitcot died. Very bad, very bad. Basically a reset. Oh wow, he's on the title screen. Amazing. So yeah, he is now on the title screen, and he is going to do a bit warp. So first of all, he's applying the early game flags which have the gates open, so he can just move past the gates. And then he is starting and saving at the same time at the statue, and the game basically thinks he's on the map he starts the file with. So right there, he will now load the coordinates of the statue on the map of Skyview. So this is how he can land here. And since this is a one map but with many rooms, all these rooms are like partially loaded if you're in a different room. So spawning in here, everything is unloaded and he can just move over here. He still needs to reload to access the boss because the rope isn't there. So this is the best door to enter to reload. So that's why we're doing this right there. And we'll also get some flags here, because this Skyview file will actually be our last setup file. Because Skyview has a lot of flags that are very useful for us. And this is one of them, getting the boards right there. The game obviously wants to remember that you have got the board, so you don't have to redo it all the time. So spider skip right here. There you go. If you get hit, it is very, 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 very bad. Lepe has in trouble with keyboard as well. Funny. So, oh boy. He's also last try. What is up with the Bokoblins today? Being a meme Bokoblin. Oh boy. Everyone missing keyboard. So, yeah, if you die after the bit warp, the last time you saved were on the statue entrance, so you will be set back there. So you basically lose all the progress you did in the. You don't lose the progress, but you have to redo the bits to get back in here. So yeah, it's technically pretty scary if something happens, but they'll get it. So right there, let's see if he does see up. There you go. Very good, saving the frames. So doing a C-up right there allows you to open the chest earlier, because C-up prevents the camera from panning at the end. So normally there's a camera pan at the end, and that doesn't happen. So yeah, you get control of Link faster, and fast control of Link is fast. So yeah, that's why we do it. So yeah, by the way, the beetle is only used for one thing in the whole run. So yeah, that's unlucky, but it doesn't save. It loses more time to skip it than to get it. So yeah, in the end, it's worth getting it. So we do that. Yeah. So you mean those little things those spike balls that explode? I think you need to like run on tightrope and they normally fall off, or you need to like bounce the rope. One of those two things will definitely do it. Oh, a Bokoblin of a row. Ah, so yeah, you have to like hit down on the Wii mode. I actually also didn't know that until I saw speedruns. So right there, Kitcot is trying to save very quickly, because if he saves quickly enough, the Bokoblin doesn't die. And that's useful for later. It is left to right thing is to like keep balance. so you can run, and like going down is like Link doing like pushing the rope down or something. I really don't know how he's doing it actually, but somehow he's doing it. So Kitcot is now entering back in time again, applying the flags again. You know it, opening the gates, as said earlier. And he is now going to actually use the flag that he got early, the practice sword flag. So he's right now saved a file that has a practice sword, and now the Sheikah stone can spawn because the flags for it are set. So he just yeah, but the one that comes behind is not there if you reload. So right there you can see him. He was able to get he just died there with the other Bokoblin. But later he will actually want to die on this file again. And this time the other Bokoblin doesn't even move. So it's way slower to... You basically have to cross the rope again in order to get to the other Bokoblin. So later, if we want to die on file 3, we will see if he was able to save fast enough. Because then the Bokoblin will be near him and kick him down into the void. Otherwise it won't. So yeah, what I was talking about is that the practice sword is a global flag because of being an item and stuff. And this is an important flag in order to trigger the Sheikah Stone cutscene, otherwise it doesn't work. So that is why yeah, he needs to do that. He needs to save file 2, because saving applies all the flags of a file, not like bonking that only applies a part of the flags and not all flags. So basically global flags, or like, yeah, story flags get applied by saving. Scene flags get applied by doing something in like bonking or like pushing a box or pushing a log. And item flags get updated by getting something that is like, for example, a rupee because it updates your rupee count, or shooting a slingshot because it updates your slingshot count, for example. Yeah, so all these things, pretty complicated. I'll explain it again when it comes up, but yeah. For now, a quick overview of what works and what doesn't. So yeah, Kitcot finishing up the Skyview Temple, and I didn't mention it again because there's a lot of going on in those bits, but he also now has a setup file, another setup file. So this is his last, basically his last setup file. He'll get another one later, but for most of the game, it's gonna be his setup. So he's now his run file on file 1, an early game file on file 2, and a Skyward file on file 3. And the Skyward file is useful because there's so many flags we get. And so we also get some extra ones that we don't need to in order to do to like activate certain things. So yeah. So yeah, right there you can see the Bokoblin being there. This is, oh yeah, it works out, I guess, but it's not the void. This is actually why he wants to save fast. Otherwise he has to go over the tightrope. So yeah, there are 2 Bokoblins, but saving fast allows you this Bokoblin to live. Yeah. So yeah, we died again to get back in time, and this time we'll place the Amber tablet, Ruby tablet. Ruby tablet is the name. So right there you get the rupee, and what? Oh, he got the rupee with the wrong file. That is unfortunate. So he could maybe saved it with something else, but I guess he's straight up resetting. So you want, in order to get the Ruby tablet back in time, in order to place it in back in time, you need to update your item flags. And as I said earlier, updating your item flags means something like getting a rupee, or getting a goblin. Please don't be mean. Or like shooting a slingshot or something, or getting an item also updates it, obviously. By the way, falling into the void is faster than dying normally, because you don't watch Link falling to the ground. So that's why we hang down there and try to get like hit down into the void. It's very true. Basically, only go to your next place to die, yeah. For that, he needs to first select file 1. It doesn't matter if he gets the text box, that is actually not the problem, but he needs to select file 1 because only file 1 has the Ruby tablet. So yeah. So now he bonked with file 2, so that's why the gates are open. And he will save file 1 here because afterwards he wants to go to Elden, so being on Skyloft, so this is like a normal bit save, he will just be on this map after he loads, so nothing weird there, just basically because he wants to be closer to Elden. After he placed it. Right there, because we applied the checking a statue is actually also a scene flag, so it updates scene flags. And file 3 has the pedestal rising scene flag, so that's why the pedestal rise when he entered. Normally he has to hit it. Saves 7 seconds, so it's worth getting. It's the second board of the Skaldra boards he destroyed, so that's why he hit those boards. As you can see, he doesn't apply the Elden Pillar on file 1. He does apply it on file 2. You might wonder why, but the reason will be clear later. So yeah, he applied it to his early game file, so now he has an early game file that just did the Loftwing tutorial and also has the Elden Pillar. But since we still have to place the Elden Pillar to get to Elden, we will place it on our run file as well. So yeah, that's why we're doing it again. As you can see, we are on the title screen map right now because we bit saved on there. Yeah, so placing the Amber Tablet as well. Lepe now also going for the Girahim skip back in time. It's also the reason why Lepe had to RBM the Practice Sword is because otherwise he couldn't do this RBM right here. Otherwise he couldn't spawn the Sheikah Stone in bit. Yeah, Lepe died. That's very bad. So yeah. So now he also doesn't need his corrupt file anymore. He needs to set up files way more, so that's why he covers over it. We'll try to die on our main files anyway. Right there, taking the potion. So we actually don't need the bottle for the potion, but we need it for being a bottle for later. Again, we could skip the bottle, but it's very, very convenient to just get it. So yeah, that's why we're doing it and getting it for later. So now next up is Elden, and now we can like start doing a lot of back in times. So the first thing we're gonna do is die. An important thing to note is that dying in lava is also faster because Link also doesn't fall to his knees when dying, so that's useful. So yeah, he'll just take this guy, get damage down to 4 hearts, and jump into the lava. So the reason why he wants to be at full health is the next thing he's going to do is take a lot of fall damage because he's attempting a bit warp now. So again, the same thing as in Skyview, he will apply the coordinates of the statue he's saving as to the map he is on. So this time he's going to use the Bazaar statue, and this time the positioning is actually precise because we are trying to get into a Goddess Cube, so the Goddess Cubes push us out of bounds into a loading zone, into the Magma Turf loading zone. So right there, he starts and saves basically at the same time, and if he does done everything correctly, he is there and gets into the loading zone. And this one, since he has no sailcloth, he has to take 4 hearts of fall damage. So yeah. But again, being on low health is what we want anyway, and we had to get we have to use the potion at some point anyway. So this isn't really bad. This is actually more useful than bad. So Lep, on the other hand, skipping Girahim 1 as normal. As everyone would think it would work. So right here, I'll try to like get them all with a Skyward Strike. Very well done. Only 2 Skyward Strikes is good. So yeah, getting the digging mitts. So the American version of this game actually skips the digging mitts because it works out for them. But normally on GP it is not fast to skip the digging mitts. We'll need it later for a trick that the American version can work around very easily with their version specific trick, so that's why they can skip it. So yeah, digging mitts is basically only used for a ferry. So that's the use of the digging mitts, for digging up a ferry. Again, all of these items have only 1 use, which is pretty bad, but skipping them is also so slow, so yeah. And sometimes these uses are just required and we can't skip them. So let's see if he gets circles. Nice, circles. So as you can see, Link is running around. The reason is that Link wants to get to a specific point for the cutscene to play. But he's also turning at the same angle, like the same angle all the time. He's turning the same distance, so he's just start running in circles because he doesn't get into the middle. So that's very funny. Oh, Lip running in. Oh no, never mind. Oh, yeah, that's right. So right there, I always did the same mistake. So right there, he didn't save fast enough for the Copeland to spawn, so he had to like move over the tightrope and run into the spider to die. So you can see like that's a big difference. It's a really big difference. So you'll try to save as fast as possible. Luckily, 5-3, you only need to die on it once, so this won't impact Lepe anymore, but still unfortunate. Right there you saw Lepe actually getting the cutscene skip of the rupee, because if you do a precise front hop, you can actually skip the text. So yeah, you see Kitcot is back in time again. Who thought? So now he is attempting to do a back in time that opens the Earth Temple door. For that one, he needs to make it nighttime. And it's very important that he selects file 2 before leaving, because every other file will crash. Only the early game state has a layer in night that has no stuff. So you can see like there's basically nothing, no one moving around and stuff. So yeah. So that's why it loads. So right there he opened the shed basically, and opening the shed sets a area specific flag. And since it's area specific, it means something completely different in Elden. And the different flag it sets is the opening of the Earth Temple door. So no searching for keys. There he tries to get at the right time up there, so he can just move past him. Otherwise he would need to use the slingshot. But that is faster to do it like that. So yeah, there's also you'll also see how powerful it is that these flags are area specific later in Earth Temple. I think it shows very well why these area specific flags are so good. So yeah, now Lip is also placing his ruby tablet, and he's also going to Elden next. So yeah, the text is putting Lip quite as a disadvantage, but back in time can be weird sometimes. So especially later back in times, which get longer and longer. If he fails them, it's gonna cost him a lot of time. So there's gonna be some time to catch up for sure if something like that happens. So right there you might wonder, since the door is closed, how did he fail his RBM? Did he fail the trick? He didn't fail the trick, it just doesn't show. So basically, since the door is a big actor, it needs like a reload to actually show that it's open. And it's actually there, so if you moved into it, it would block him. But the reason why it doesn't matter is because the cutscene that it plays if you enter the Earth Temple door is now there, because the game has the flag set, so he's like, okay, the cutscene now is available to play. And the cutscene actually happens before you go through the door, so he just needs to go close to the door and the cutscene will happen and teleport him behind the door. So right there, going close to the door, activating the cutscene, and then entering the door. So it's very useful that it skips a reload. It's very nice that the cutscenes actually expands behind the door, otherwise we had to reload. So yeah, right here, some cutscene skips with being in the air, right there. Doesn't play the cutscene of falling down of the bridge. And it's also important to note that he actually had like his camera behind him, because everything that the camera sees actually is the only thing that actually works. Everything else is frozen for the most part. So this way he could freeze the platform timer, like the platform cycle, and get the perfect platform cycle he wants to. So yeah, going into Earth Temple now. So first up, going to do back in time, who thought? So we'll save and die. Another back in time again. And this time we're actually gonna do the exact same thing you just saw. So since the Earth Temple and the Elden Volcano are different maps, they have different area-specific flags, so doing the exact same thing does something completely different. So this is basically how powerful areas using like area-specific flags and RBMing area-specific flags, because you have like 20, 30 different maps, like 30 different. So it's basically like 30 different applications each flag that you can actually RBM. So yeah, this is why, you know, we can do so many things with this. That's why we can basically set anything that we want to. But it's slow, so we don't do it as often as we could do. Again, doing the exact same thing. So this time, finally I remember it. So this time we actually get another flag than normally. So as I said, you have like a window where you can do stuff. So if he does more than one stuff, he gets more than one stuff. So there, it looks like he only does the exact same thing. But his file 1 actually has a flag that is the flag for like playing the Ballad of the Goddess on top of Light Tower. So you might remember this from playing this game casually, that you play the Ballad of the Goddess on the top of his Light Tower and activate the Thunderhead cutscene, right? And yeah, that's actually what he did, because he applied his flag to Back in Time on Skyloft. This flag, the game's like, oh, okay, you played the Ballad of the Goddess on top of Light Tower, so yeah. Now we're gonna play the Thunderhead cutscene next, but you don't see it because the game starts beforehand, but the flag for it, the story flag for it gets set, so... He not only got the shed flag, which is area specific, but he also got a global flag that is opening a Thunderhead. So if you see him fly out later, you will see that Thunderhead is open, and that is because of that Back in Time right there. So yeah, finally I remember, because it's like, you don't really see it, so you tend to forget, but the cutscene actually is queued up, so it would happen next. So the story flag actually gets set, which is very convenient. It basically skips a whole Back in Time. Yeah, because opening a Thunderhead early is obviously what we want to do. We actually need a Thunderhead only for one thing. So yeah, another of those things where it's only useful for one thing, and it costs a lot of time to get. But yeah, we have to deal with it. That is actually one of the few things we cannot skip. It would probably be faster to skip the Thunderhead opening if we could. Like, going to the Thunderhead is just very slow, flying there. So yeah, it's nice. So Lepe is now going for the Earth Temple RBM, so yeah. He'll also do the exact same thing you just saw on Kitcot's side for the second time, doing the third time. Yeah. Very funny that those line up. By the way, this is what they did, so you can see the bridge is up now. So this is what the area-specific flag of the REM did. So the part that didn't open the Thunderhead. So now the bridge is open. Open. The bridge has risen. So yeah, running up this first slope as normal, as casuals, but the next one is gonna be a little bit different. Okay, falling down the first slope. That is also something you can do. Interesting technique right there. RNG manipulation for Scaldera, obviously. Getting the sweet RNG manipulation out there. So, right here is gonna activate all of these stones, rocks, and he'll go to the side to avoid them, and then he'll use a technique called stutter sprinting, where he'll press the A button in a rhythm, and this will allow him to get him more height. So basically he can sprint longer. The only problem with that is that it actually is slower to do, so you'll only see him do that if he needs to get the extra height. So basically only here. It's the only use. The other slopes can all be get without that. But it can sometimes be a good save if you realize that you can't get up the slope. You can start stutter sprinting to get some more heights. You see it on Lepe's side, for example. He started stutter sprinting to get the right cycle. So it's useful, but yeah, is limiting, and it's slower. So yeah. Kitcot escaping the boulder and going for Scaldera. Let's bless RNG for Scaldera. So yeah, Scaldera is a good amount of RNG, so there's a very precise strat that does not have any RNG, but it's very hard, and most runners go for the casual, the more, no, not casual, but the more normal way of doing Scaldera. So yeah, let's hope the eye is not doing anything stupid and the right boulders blow up. So there's like two parts of it basically that's RNG, and he will try to do exact amount of damage in order to not get him to certain phases. So we have basically different attack things we can do. We can do Skyward strikes, which do the most damage. Then we can do normal Goddess strike, and we also can do a spin, which tends to hit twice. So basically double damage of a Goddess sword attack. So we have 3 different values of damage we can do, and we'll try to manipulate it in the right way in order to him to not get into the next health phase. At a certain amount of health, he'll start to do different things, like starting to like run and like get his height where he runs over you, for example. We don't want that. So yeah. Right there at the end, you saw him do a little break slide. Holding his S position and Z targeting allows you to maintain speed a little bit longer, even if your stamina is depleted. One of the 2 uses in this run. So Fi on Lepe's end telling him that he can't get into the door. But she didn't know that the loading the cutscene actually is there, so yeah, she should have tested that. But yeah, because of REM, which is a probably a year now since we found REM, it's the reason why this game got cut in half, even more than cut in half. It's a very big trick that saves a lot of time. It's basically the manipulating the area-specific flags in the way we're doing right now. It's RBM. And like basically manipulating any flag, but the area-specific flags are the big ones. So yeah, There you can see this like running up there. We tried to avoid that with doing the right amount of damage and stuff, but as you can see, it can still happen that you don't get a hit in, and this happens. But luckily, he got the quick hit. So basically, if you like, right before he starts like asking for a bomb, you can actually hit him for some reason, and that actually allows you to hit him right there and allowed him to kill him fairly fast. It's not the fastest, but it's very close to fastest way of killing him. Actually, the only one you want to avoid is the one where he runs up. That's something you can avoid, which is the fastest way of doing it. So yeah, still pretty good. Kitcot is getting some bombs. Doesn't have to worry about. So there's this door basically is on a timer, like on a cycle timer. So if he picking up that bomb doesn't really lose any time because basically if he gets to the door at the start of this cycle, it takes a lot of time before the door actually opens. And if he gets there at the end of that cycle, it's very fast. So yeah, getting a bomb, sneak a bomb in there is actually not losing any time, or almost no time. So yeah, finishing Elden next. So next up is the Thunderhead. A quick jump into Thunderhead. And then a quick jump into Lanayru, and then finishing the game. As I said earlier, the Thunderhead is open because of an RBM we did earlier. And an RBM Lip is doing right now. This RBM, again, not only raises the bridge in Earth Temple, but also opens the Thunderhead. By the way, this text Kitcot is getting right now is the text he gets for hitting the first Goddess Cube. If he actually never hit the first Goddess Cube, he would never get this text, which is one of the extra saves that Extending Blow has, because Extending Blow puts you past all of these things and you don't have to hit the Goddess. The Goddess Cube. So there, the Thunderhead is open, everything worked out as you wanted it to. Yeah, I think the cutscene is 20 seconds, 30 seconds maybe, 20 seconds. And you also don't have to, it's also a little bit faster because you like get there faster, like jumping straight there is obviously faster. So I think Extending Blow saves like 40 seconds or 30 seconds. So still too much for an RNG trick, but it looks pretty cool, so I guess that's his redeeming feature. Yeah, so Kitcot is trying to avoid the Skytails, because if he gets hit by a Skytail, he will respawn at the start of Thunderhead, which is really far away. Just all of this flying is really, really long. It's like 2 minutes. Or something, so yeah. 2 minutes for an item we only need once. Very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. So yeah. He is now doing the puzzle. On the other hand, Link is killing the Zalfos. So yeah. And we have a little break from talking all the time. Yeah, it will always, no matter where you land, it will always activate the. Oh, nice! You got a cutscene skip. Will always activate the fight text, the fight cutscene stuff. It's basically landing on the island for the first time will always activate that. I guess not if you land on the roof or something, but if you go near the puzzle, this will happen. So yeah, we need the Pharaoh's Courage, because it's the only way to set the right layer in order to get the water scale, which we need in order to finish Ancient Cistern, which we need in order to fight in prison, otherwise it crashes, which we need in order to beat the game. So yeah. A lot of potential for skipping stuff, but layers are quite annoying because there's no back in time or flag we can RBM in order to get a layer. Because yeah, that is something different. Sadly. There is no way of doing that. Yeah, Kitcot, needs to reload differently now because he actually, sadly, died on trying to get past lead without getting his text. Oh yeah. Ah, these layers, man. They're really trying to annoy us. One of the few things that would really do a lot of for this game. So yeah, now we're gonna do basically the same thing we did with the Ruby tablet, just with the Amber tablet. So it's exactly the same basically. But this time, yeah, no, it's basically the same. But this time it's Laneru. And it's not on file 2, so it's actually on file 1. We do this because it's faster to bit save on Skyloft instead of flying back to Skyloft, which is very long. Again, Thunderhead is quite out of the way, which is really annoying. So yeah, that's why we do back in time in order to do this way. Putting the Amber tablet on the early game file has no use, sadly, because you will see later the only reason why we get the Amber tablet in our early game file is because it allows us to enter the pillar in back in time. But the other pillars are actually behind an invisible barrier in the Skyloft tutorial layer, in the Loftwing tutorial layer, which is why the other pillars aren't really useful. Yeah, you can use them, if at least the Farron Pill. You can use the Farron Pill if you want to, but for this run it won't be useful. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy Laneru. This joke everyone does every commentating run. I hope you guys like Laneru because it's gonna be very long. Spoiler, it's not. And you probably all know that. So yeah, as I said earlier, checking statues actually is a scene flag, so an area specific flag. And that means we can actually RBM. Don't worry, you don't see any sand. You legitimately don't see any sand. At least no quicksand. So we can actually RBM checking a statue, and this means because the flag is used for if you can fly there, so game basically checks, okay, did the player get check the statue already, and if he did, he can fly there. So if you RBM exactly that, you can just fly there. And luckily, Skyward Sword has put a statue right behind the boulders you can't get past. So yeah, we can just check that statue with this RBM, and then we can just land behind all those boulders and skip all of Laneru mining facility. Which is huge. Huge. But the RBM is quite slow, because this guy there, right here, this scary guy, he talks a fuck ton. He talk a lot. Yeah. He talks a lot, and especially in English, so I hope you're ready to see Lepe talk to this guy. It's gonna be a long one. So again, this RBM actually does 2 flags. Because there's one scene flag that sets, and there's one global flag that sets. So the scene flag is So normally the door inside Patrol's house is like locked after you enter, so you can't just leave again if you're scared. So you have to fight him. But after you talk to him, obviously they want you to leave again. So there's a scene flag for opening the door to go out again, which is also the flag that allows you to enter the Temple of Time via the sky. And the other flag is the story flag for the gratitude crystals. So since there are different maps, the sky and Skyloft needs to know if you can find crystals because they spawn in night. It has to be in a global flag, and that global flag is also now in our files, which means that file 1 can technically now get gratitude crystals, and it actually will. And then on another note, this flag that activates the gratitude crystals is also used for like the kid rescuing what's her name? Kukiel. Like the little girl you need to rescue is now considered rescued because you got the flag. Kukiel, yeah. It's now considered rescued. So yeah, which is also going to be useful. So this that's why, sadly, I mean, the best thing would if he could skip talking to Patrol, but at the moment you can see it's very, very powerful. It is, though, a very long back in time. So Kitcot unfortunately didn't get the cutscene skip, so right there, after the prompt, he could do a side hop or backflip to skip the fight text, but he didn't, which is unfortunate. Well, whatever. Lepe is now finishing Earth Temple as well. So again, Lepe sadly has a lot of disadvantage because of the English text, but yeah. Yeah, but true skip for any percent is not incoming. Unless you find a way to, I guess, maybe Batrick into there, or getting into Farron faster in back in time. One of those two things. Otherwise it won't happen. Because doing LMF is not what any percent has to do, and it's not what it wants to do. So right here, we're gonna watch the Gru's cutscene, but we're actually not gonna get the Bell of the Goddess. Because we don't need it. We don't need it. We are going to skip it, but we need to talk to Grus, because it's a story flag we need. Unfortunate, but true. So yeah, talking to him gives us a story flag we'll need for later. And after that we'll get the scale. So actually right now there is a route in discussion that actually does a task trick, and Kitcot said he will try to implement, or try it, I guess once, maybe twice, to get a test trick in, to show you a little bit of the glimpse into the new route. So he's basically doing the current route, but he's doing the skip in to show us how it works. So the new route that is in discussion does a out of bounds club in Ancient Cistern in order that you don't need to get the scale on a game file. So you basically still need to get the need to get the scale, but you get it back in time and use it back in time, which basically means the scale doesn't get saved anywhere. I mean, you still got it technically, but it didn't get saved anywhere, and that allows us to enter Ancient Cistern, but end up not having a scale, which sounds like very hard to complete a dungeon, but with a one clip you can actually do it. It's pretty precise, but it's only one clip, so. And it saves probably about 45 seconds. So yeah. Definitely worth it. Yeah, he got her harp cancel. I didn't mention it, but if you press B on the frame where the last pedestal would appear, the game actually finishes the trial, but you skip out of watching the song. So yeah, that allows you to skip a lot of like 30 seconds of time save basically, because you don't have to watch the fight cutscene singing. But you don't see the trial, but it's actually there, so you can just put your sword in. Oh, Lippe! Lippe failing the... Wait, no. No. I hope he can recover, but this is... Oh, he's just doing a... Okay. He actually failed the puzzle. It's been a long time since the started last time. So yeah, trial really scary because this route gets this tier first. So yeah, you have to be careful to don't get pushed away by this guy. So yeah. Silence realms are pretty cool because you can keep running all the time. Which is quite enjoyable. And if anything happens, it's quite scary. Even for our experienced runners. Also Lepe jumping off right there after hitting the cutscene trigger. A funny thing you can do, like if your Skyward Strike is flying, you can do like a bunch of stupid stuff. For flavor, it doesn't add anything. Right there you can see running right at the edge in order to run fully up. So I think Kitcot will skip all light fruits. So basically these white things. Oh, sorry. These white things that are laying on the ground are actually activating a cutscene that shows you where all the tiers are, and that can be quite annoying. I mean, it costs times and it saves time on the same side because it refills your stamina, but it shows a cutscene, and in the end, it's faster to not get the cutscene. So yeah. So that's what Kitcot is doing now. The only Farron is not that big of a problem to skip it, but in Elden trial it's very hard sometimes because they're placed very badly. Oh, okay, he's going through this guy. Scary, scary. Yeah, because yeah. Okay, he got it. That was close. Oh, this guy's still chilling there. So that's quite of a scary watcher because if he gets you, you're most likely dead. So that was a scary. There's no really any reason why he goes that way, but I guess he does. It was pretty scary if he lost all of that progress, because if you die in the silent realm, you lose all your tears. So yeah. Yeah. So hitting your waking water, if it's like about to like fill, it's faster because after the cutscene starts, it actually resets. So normally he would have to like wait for it like to like go back, and then he has to jump over, and then he had to wait to like be able to get back. So that's why he ran into the waking water instead of waiting. The cutscene isn't long, so and since it resets the waking water cycle, you can just run back out, which is faster than doing the front hop. So yeah. I think if you do everything perfectly, you get a cycle where you don't hit the waking water. Yeah, so that's why Kitcot run into the waking water. Apparently, Kitcot is doing something weird and spoilering the chat. So now, after he gets the scale, he is about to get to Elden. And he wants to go back to Farron, I guess. Which, I mean, it's a nice place. Farron is quite nice, but I'm still surprised that he wants to go there all the time. So yeah. Lepo, on the other hand, is doing the patrol RBM, so there you can see a lot of... If you want to see long English text, you might want to watch Lippa's screen. Just as, you know, I know some people like that, you know. Seeing English text is quite amazing, right? So... Yeah, so he did I was actually wrong. I was thinking about a different route that is like in... That's probably why he was also confused a little bit. So he's actually doing a crystal REM right now. So he will... It's fine. He will bit save. Everything is fine, guys. Everything is fine. He will bit save. And he will... RBM getting crystals. So he basically starts before getting the crystals. You might wonder, why would one want to get gratitude crystals? You know, they have no really use. I can tell you it's not because you want to make people happy. That is definitely not what we want to do. It's because getting gratitude crystals also allows you to get more scene flags. Because Petro, for every 5 gratitude crystals, I think, maybe not every 5, but the first 5 definitely, you get a reward. And a reward is just another scene flag we can RBM. So, yeah. That's what we're gonna do. Petro, human percent. It's basically a no source requirement, probably. Since, yeah. It's definitely would be funny. Especially since he doesn't really change when he turns human. So yeah, he gets the 5 crystals in order to get another flag he's gonna use right away. So he's gonna land in Elden and die again. Who thought? So yeah. Land in Elden. Die again and use the 5 gratitude crystals to get the reward. On the other hand, Lepe just finished all of the long English text and is now flying into the Temple of Time. And this is actually the second time we'll see a route change for both our runners. So Lepe will do... Nice, 69 views. Lepe will do the Ballad of the Goddess skip right away. And Kitcot is doing the Ballad of the Goddess skip at the end of the run. Which is why we will see Farambit very soon, so that's gonna be a lot to explain. I'm happy to do so. So Kitcot is just opening the shed because file 3 has the flags for it. And he will enter Petro's house with file 1. Because that one has the 5 gratitude crystals, and those 5 gratitude crystals allow him to get the reward. Right there, he loads the scale in order to get this shortcut. He used the rupee for it. So the rupee again updates item flags, so he can just get the water scale back in time. And he will now enter the patrol house and get the flag for it. And this will be the flag to open the trial. So yeah, this time luckily Petro doesn't talk as much. So yeah, that's nice. Lepe also sadly didn't get a cutscene skip of 5. So what Lepe is now going to do, he's gonna die and he's gonna reset. And he's going to go to Farambit. So again, we had a setup where file 2 is our early game file. And it allows us to enter the Loftwing tutorial back in time. Which basically means... so basically this is the only Skylight that doesn't crash because a lot of stuff is not there if you're in the tutorial. And this allows us to enter the sky and also enter a light pillar. And the only light pillar that is in range of the barrier that's around the Loftwing tutorial is the Elden pillar. So for some reason, they they put the Elden pillar in reach of the barrier. They didn't thought that you could. I don't know. Maybe they thought about it and just wanted it to happen. But it's very, very, very convenient because otherwise we had huge problems. I mean, at the moment we have a way to go around it, but it would lose time in any percent at least. So, yeah, as you can see, the Elden pillar is right there because File 2 did it. So you can just fly there. So, yeah, it's really cool. What's even cooler? If you activate the Gru's cutscene back in time, and then select another file, you lose the Gru's cutscene, and it will start again. But this time, not Grus is talking to you, but the Goron is talking to you. So the Goron is talking to you, and making Grus noises, or like Goron noises rather. And he's actually extremely slow, so at the end where Grus is running away, the Goron is slowly walking through you. So you don't see him at the start, but at the end you see him like slowly moving to your window and then slowly moving out. And you have to wait all the time in order for the cutscene to end. It's quite stupid. So yeah. The reason is because the game actually puts like the Gru somewhere else now. He's in the temple now. And yeah, but the game still wants to play. So that's actually something that the game just does. If you activate a cutscene, but the actor is not there, they tend to like use another actor if there's another actor available for some reason. Probably to like prevent crashes or soft blocks. It's pretty funny. It's also really stupid. And hopefully it doesn't happen because it's very important for Lippet that he doesn't select anything. That is why he is in this copy menu at the moment. Because not selecting anything keeps the flag. So story flags, it's important. Story and item flags. So basically any global flags, it's important to not reselect. Otherwise you lose it. Yeah, that's why. Yeah, that's correct. We get the adventure pouch from because now Fledge is not there anymore, so there's no other actor. So they try to search for the next actor, and it's this guy, I guess. And then this guy comes over and gives you the adventure pouch. It's another funny thing. That's true. Actually, somewhere you might see it a little bit better. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, Lipel now is going for the biggest skip in this game. So after he did one Fahrenbit, he'll do another Fahrenbit. Yeah. So the biggest skip is opening the door to the Horde, which basically activates the end game. For some reason, the game thought it was a good idea to not put any protection in there. So there's no protection for this door, no global flag, no nothing. So just a plain ass area flag. So we'll just get that real quick. With real quick, I mean a very long back in time. So first of all, we're gonna take this statue right there, and we'll keep this flag on file 1. Since we have to be careful to not update anything with do anything with file 1, because otherwise we lose the statue flag, but we'll take it for now. So remember, file 1 now has the Upper Academy statue flag, and he is taking it with it. And now, the next thing we're doing is going into Fahrenbit again, so flying into the Elden Pillar. And I didn't say it the first time, but since for file 2 it's the first time to ever enter Light Pillar, he will get the cutscene, because it's the first time you enter a Light Pillar, you will always get that cutscene. And this cutscene will take you to Farron. Because as you can see, this cutscene takes place over here. So it's basically like hitting the Goddess Cube, where you get teleported to the Goddess Cube. It's like hitting the pillar and teleporting to this cutscene, which puts you to Farron. And that's very important because we actually want to be in Farron. Because Elden actually crashes, so Elden is a no-no, but Farron is yes. So again, he will now, since he has to, he wants to get out of the temple anyway, he will bit save file 1 and behind the temple. But it is very important that he doesn't check the statue with file 1. He has to, that's why he's very careful right there. It's very important that he does everything exactly like this, because again, as I said, if he updates anything with file 1, he's gonna lose the flag he needs, which is the statue flag. Because that flag activates the Lake Floria gate cutscene. As Lake Floria, the cutscene that the gates are opening, and that cutscene at the end sets another scene flag, and that is the one we need. So right there he started, and you can see like Link going into like a focus mode, because the cutscene was about to start, and that cutscene sets the flag we need. So yeah, now we have officially skipped the Song of the Hero. At least Lepe did. Kitcot, on the other hand, did the trial and entered Volcano Summit now. And he's gonna do the best RBM, like objectively the best one. Probably first because he doesn't remember doing it. Actually, he doesn't gonna do it first. He's gonna do it second. I say he's gonna do it second because he forgets that it is safer to do it first. So he's not gonna do the best RBM. I take it back. He's gonna do an old one that we already know. He's gonna do the Sheikah Stone one. This is actually the required one. So skipping Girahim 1 obviously is not needed. We can fight him. But this one is taking down one of the smaller flames in front of Fire Sanctuary. And you can't... we only have one bottle. So we can only put down one little flame and not two. And we will have to enter Fire Sanctuary on one load, so we cannot leave after we enter once. And the reason is for the next RBM, which again, objectively is the best one. Objectively. So he's going to die. And he's gonna do a Farron bit. But a very, 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 very short Farron bit. So there is one problem to enter. So to enter Fire Sanctuary, there's one problem, and the one problem is, yeah, Lepe sadly got a song, didn't get harp cancelled, but it's fine. So what I was about to say was, there's one big flames in front of the Fire Sanctuary, which we didn't really care about it yet. We didn't do Skyward 2, we didn't get the sacred water and stuff, so yeah. We obviously are not intending to get the water basin. So how are we gonna do this? So we're pretty unlucky. The flag we need to enter to get rid of the flames is area specific, but it's quite hard to get. And it's actually a gratitude crystal in the sky. So yeah, we'll skydive to Lumpy Pumpkin. So as I said earlier, there's a barrier around the tutorial, and the only way to get past it is with diving, because it only blocks your Lochwing and not Link. So if you dive, you can actually get past the barrier and get to islands. And the one island which has the gratitude crystal that we need is the Lumpy Pumpkin. But the problem is File 2 doesn't have diving. It never unlocked it. It only gets unlocked after you get the Hero's Tunic. So in order to have diving, we'll have to reload the area via the Farron Pillar, which we're doing right now. So we're going to enter and leave right away. Well, the hop cancel is not really easy. Definitely nothing you will get first try. Definitely easy to fail. It's like 2 frames or 3 frames, so it's not easy, but it has a good visual cue. So right here, he's gonna open a splash screen which loads file 3 before mounting the loft wing. So for some reason, the loft wing, mounting the loft wing actually updates your flags. So this allows, so now the game has updated the file 3 flags, although we entered with file 2, which in the end allows us to get the diving ability. So now he can dive, but diving is quite hard, so he's gonna fly up. And he's gonna dive for a while. He has to be careful to not stay on the splash screen too long, otherwise the intro cutscene starts, so hopefully he remembers to move off. He's also trying to look for it. There it is, on the side. Yeah, so it seems like it works out. So again, so this is objectively the best back in time because I found the way to get the diving ability in back in time, which is objectively makes it the best. So right there, he tried to land on the roof in order to fall down the slope, which is a little bit faster than landing. So he's now sleeping. It doesn't really matter with which file. What is important that he leaves with file 1. It's another very convenient thing. In order for this gratitude crystal to load, we need to enter like this area with a file that has gratitude crystals. And the only file we have is file 1 because that one RBM talking to Petro. So yeah. So he starts running into the crystal. And now he has everything set, so the last thing he needs to do is to get some water and commit the flag with bonking this waterfall. So yeah, there's actually an important thing considering the big flames. So these big flames are actually 2 flags, they're not 1 flag, they're 2 flags. And one of them is a area-specific flag, and one of them is a story flag. Which is why you might see the second frog, that one is watered, that one is blue. At the background, you can see it. That is because of the first RBM we did. But you might have also already seen that the big frog is not watered. That one is still unwatered. And that is the story flag. The story flag is basically watering the frog, and the scene flag is getting rid of the big flames. But the game isn't dumb, so if you actually miss, for example, the water right there, and you have to reload this area, the flames will be back up, because the game is like, wait a minute, you didn't water the frog yet. There should be flames here. And yeah, puts up back the flames, so... You will also see that later when we leave Fire Sanctuary after beating it. There will be flames. So yeah. Quite unfortunate. So Lippe is now going to do the 5 crystal RBM that Kitcot did earlier. So remember, Kitcot already did 2 RBMs that Kitcot didn't do. So yeah, keep that in mind. And that is because doing them later with the setup Kitcot is doing is better. So yeah, Lippe is also now bit saving and then getting the 5 crystals. On the other hand, Kitcot is having problems opening the door. And he's doing a lot of REMs now. So yeah. It's also called REM Sanctuary because we'll do a lot of REMs. So the first one we did is... so basically in total, there are 4 RBMs we have to do, and 3 we are going to do right now. So the first one is we need to be, since we don't have the claw shots, we actually cannot get to the last part of the end part of Fire Sanctuary. Luckily though, there's a overworld bird statue, so you can imagine. Yeah, Deesh, you're doing quite a good job from commentating in chat, and also others. So what was it? So the first one is getting the overworld bird statue to land there, so we can actually, like, if we enter Elden again after this REM, we can actually land right there. The next one is getting down the bars that are in front of the boss key, because otherwise we can't get to the boss key without the claw shots. And there are another 2 RBMs that allows us to get the boss key without doing the mini boss, or like the mini puzzle. Because the puzzle requires Mogma Mids and we don't have Mogma Mids, so we have to skip it. And this time there are 2 flags connected to it, because one is for defeating the mini boss, which you need, and the other is for lowering the bars. And only having both at the same time works. If you only have one and you enter the room, you'll lose both, so they unset again. So yeah, you don't want that to happen. Say none of those things. So yeah, this gratitude crystal right here is the one for the overworld bird statue. So yeah, this was the 3rd one already. This is also the only required use of the digging mids right there. Right there, you saw it, getting the ferry. And the reason you need the ferry is because otherwise you die with the next back in time we do. This setup is very, very, and I say it again, very precise. It's gonna be a reverse bit warp. And we only did one before, and that was with a save prompt. And a save prompt just loaded the area normally because there are no coordinates connected to a save prompt. However, right now we have certain coordinates set. So, which means if we do a reverse bit warp, which means starting and then entering an area, it will put us at the coordinates we saved at. So right there, he has a very specific spot. So Link is saved at a very specific coordinates. And those coordinates will get applied to the map he's loading in back in time after starting. So he starts his file, runs into the loading zone, and after that, the coordinates of his file gets applied to the map he's loading. So yeah, this allows a huge skip in Ancient Cistern. And you'll see what it is. And as I spoiled a little bit, the reverse bit we'll be going to do is into Ancient Cistern. So sadly, Ancient Cistern crashes in back in time, so there's no way of entering it while being back in time, but loading it, as I should say. But you can enter it, and if you start before the load happens, the load will happen on your actual game file, which doesn't crash, obviously. But the Ancient Cistern reverse bit warp is quite hard, so yeah. This is also the trick, this is also where the version-specific trick comes in, where American actually has an advantage. So the American version of this game can actually do a clip in Ancient Cistern that allows us to do like exactly the same thing we're doing right now with the specific setup. So yeah, sorry for bonking the mic. So that's where we are at the moment. Lip is now doing the Elden trial and trying to avoid all these light fruits, which is quite hard at times. Yeah, it's actually true because now, so before we found a certain other reverse bit warp, the ancient system reverse bit warp was the one that every route did. But now there's actually a way to do a reverse bit warp into the whip chest room, which is actually faster if you have the claw shots. So every route, which is like the most other main routes that you can run, so all dungeons and 100%, actually will do a reverse bit warp into the whip chest room and not into the boss key room. Because this reverse bit warp we're doing right now will actually put us right in the room where the boss key is. So into the basement. So right there, he's gonna collect the rupee with level 1 to get the water scale. And he's then entering Ancient Cistern. So yeah, starting and entering. So it has to be a precise timing. And then he loads into it. And let's see if his setup worked. And it worked. You can see it was extremely close. If he doesn't get down there, that's quite bad. That's why it's nice that the other more known routes are actually doing a different setup, doing the other reverse bit warp. So yeah. Yeah, I know Kitcot, I already said that, but yeah. He's attempting to do a lily pad. It's not gonna skip any, it's not gonna save him any time, honestly, but he wants to show it off, so he did a lot of work this day today in order to make a test trick more consistent for RTA. So as I said earlier, there's a route going around right now in the Discord that is probably saves about 45 seconds, which he's not doing right now, but the trick he is doing is the trick that's gonna be applied to that route. Because that route actually does not have the water scale in Ancient Cistern. We still have to get the water scale, but he doesn't have it in Ancient Cistern. Which ends up saving time. But it needs a clip in order to work, because obviously there are some sections where you need... Yeah, I mean, there can be task tricks, because some people are crazy enough to use hours and hours of their game time in order to recreate what a task could do. I mean, a task trick basically only means a trick that is not RTA viable, which means that it's very hard to perform because of very precise positioning and frame perfect tricks. While there can be no task, there can still be a task trick. And there are quite a few of them actually. But this is one of the few clips that we can do in Skyward Sword, so maybe you're gonna witness something that is very special for Skyward Sword. Actually being able to clip something. Imagine being able to clip. That is, yeah, task stands for tool assisted speedrun, which basically means using frame advance and stuff in order to get the perfect thing from happening. Getting the perfect position, retrying if it doesn't work, until you can like put it all together to have a one perfect run, basically. Where everything goes perfect. So right here, Kitcot is now attempting the lily pad, the lily pad skip. So basically, if he is in the right position and goes up and right at the same time, he can actually like get out of the vine's range to the right and end up jumping up where the wall is. And this actually, he's actually fast enough, because it's quite fast, leaping to the side in order to skip into the lily pad. You can see right there, he almost got it. So, as you can see, if you're fast enough, it's like every game. If you're fast enough, you're able to clip, basically. But normally in Skyward Sword, you can't be fast enough. But dashing to the side, like leaping to the side, is quite a lot of speed. So it allows you to clip this very little. This is a very thin wall. So yeah. So this one was discovered quite a while ago. Thing was though, if you have the scale, it doesn't really save any time. Alone doing the setup already, so Kitcot already lost time by just attempting it almost. With the water scale, you can just do it normally, but if we're ever not having the water scale, which is gonna be the new route, you actually have to do this because you cannot get past these boards underwater, obviously. So yeah, something to consider. And the reason why it saves so much time in the new route is because skipping the like doing the water scale back in time allows us to skip a lot of fight text. So yeah. What he's trying there to get is basically a moment where you see like the thing flicker. So you see like the A button and the me mode symbol, and if this flickers enough, he can actually do both at the same time. So basically moving up a little bit and moving to the right is basically what he wants to do at the same time. And if he has the right position, which is dependent on when he is on the place where he enters the wine set, so that's why he does set up that, he's able to clip in there. And it's a very thin wall, so there's basically almost no place where you can just like, it's like unit specific. So I like tried it a little bit with like setting units, so you have like a leeway of 1 unit or so. So yeah, it's quite precise. That's why it takes quite some time. On the other hand, Lep at the moment is doing the best back in time, objectively. So he's just diving to the Lumpy Pumpkin place right now, getting some nice Lumpy Pumpkin action in there. And there you can see it, so it looks good. By the way, if you see like these little things that are like around of those places, if you get like all of them, you actually get like 20 rupees or something. It's like completely useless. I don't know why it's in there, but it gives you 20 rupees. Yeah. I mean, it would be the first time in history that a clip in Skyward Sword is there that actually saves time. Or like, okay, let's say it this way, a clip that actually saves significant amount of time and is actually used in RTA runs. Because Skyward Sword does not like clipping. It does not like clipping at all. I guess vine clips are there, so aside from like using claw shots to vine clips, so yeah. But yeah, so he now has basically done the harder part. It's very important that he does not move at all. Again, there's no leeway. If he does any step, he's boned. He is boned, so he's, rather avoiding out than. So he's trying to get his side up in. As you can see, it really didn't save any time, but this is the first time. Perfect time for Tress to come in, because this is the first time ever Lily Pad skip had been attempted in a Skyward Sword run.
Hey, I summoned
Hey,
myself. I summoned myself.
nice. Hello. I
Hello.
just saw the world premiere of Lily Pad Skip.
Yay.
Yay.
Fog.
Yeah.
I just wanted to quickly jump in and, well, we are at the grand finals, actually. Um, say, yo, this was a nice tournament, and I hope it's still not over, but from the looks of it, eh.
Yeah, the tax is quite the problem. It's gonna be some back in times that can still mess up, and every messed up back in time is quite a time loss because you have to redo everything you did. So you can lose
That'll,
like 4 minutes or so if he's
it
unlucky.
doesn't look all too promising for lepelog right now,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
he's quite behind. I mean, he has the advantage of he did all 2 RBMs already that Kitcot didn't, so there's a little less time than it looks like, but still quite behind.
Anyways, I just quickly wanted to jump in and say thank you to you for doing the commentary tonight. We sadly only got one commentator for this grand final, but still, nonetheless, we appreciate you even more, Copernicus.
Yeah, that's fine.
And yeah, I hope you all enjoy the rest of this. So yeah, that's it.
Let's get this finished here. So the only reason why we get the small key is in order to get the whip, which is needed in order to beat Coloctus. So again, you can beat the Coloctus without the whip, but it's insanely slow. So yeah, that's the problem basically we have at the moment. So Lepus now, it looks like he did everything right, and he can actually enter Fire Sanctuary. Finishing up Ancient Sister now. Again, we skipped a lot of Ancient Sister, and you might not saw it, but we basically skipped like all of it. Only doing the necessary stuff. So yeah, that is quite nice. And the new Ancient Sister route, it's not that new anymore, but the route that the categories do that have the claw shot actually does not need a small key, because you enter the whip chest and then you enter the boss key room with a statue, and you never need a small key. It's quite funny. I mean, Dish, if you want to come in, you can. I think that's fine with everybody. At least it's fine with me. So lepelog is now doing the crystal RBM in order to get the overworld bird statue. Yeah. Yeah, now you're in this situation, right? Now you can only be a coward or a real man, Dish. Now you now get into this situation. It's your fault. So yeah, we got rid of Coloctus first phase with using 2 bombs, which both does a lot of damage. And we'll get rid of second phase with another cool trick. So as I said quite early, is that the Skyward Strike is way stronger in hero mode, which allows us to not use this weird sword. I mean, this sword looks way stronger, but I can tell you it is not, because we can just 2-shot Coloctus with the Skyward Strike, which is quite crazy. A little bit of an oversight, because the sword is just the big sword is just way weaker than the small sword, which is doesn't really sound logical. Yeah, now Deesh apparently has math. Yeah, I know. Trying to avoid commentary. I get you, Dish. It's fine. You can do this alone. So, after finishing... after finishing Ancient Cistern, there's not much left to finish the game. Since, as I said earlier, we can skip the Song of the Hero, the only thing that needs to be done is finishing Fire Sanctuary in order to open the Gate of Time. Okay. Beat Fire Sanctuary in order to trigger Imprison 2, and then beat Imprison 2 in order to enter the past, and enter the past in order to enter the Horde, which ends up beating the game. So, yeah, the only thing we need to do is beat Fire Sanctuary, which we already did a lot of setup for, since we entered it once already, and Lepe is doing the setup right now, and is going on to the Ancient Cistern bit warp, using the one required use of the digging mitts. So, not quite 5 minutes for Kitcot, but Ricket with Philly Pet. Skip. I guess. I doubt it. So yeah, Fire Sanctuary. We have the Overbirds at the RBM, so we can just fly there. Kitcot is just Kitcot just wants to flex right there. A little bit. True Master Sword is TMS. Kitcot just wants to flex. Police it's not too inappropriate. But yeah. True Master Sword. But skipping True Master Sword will certainly lose him time. So I would not tell him to do it. I would not do it. So now he's doing the last RBM in Fire Sanctuary. And this one will finish up. This one will be one of the probably like the boss key chest. The boss key bars rising. The boss key chest bars rising. That's what I wanted to say. So yeah. That's what's going on right now. And after this, he can get the boss key completely free. No claw shots, no magma mitts. Everything is skipped. And we can just get this Bone Fairy for safety. Well, mostly for safety. It's quite needed. Quite needed. The Martyr Sword. Martyr Sword. You also have a Martyr Sword. So yeah, as you can see, everything is open and you just can get the boss key. So Lepe is now entering Farron for the Ancient Cistern reverse bit warp. So let's see. Girahim 2 is a little bit of RNG right here, so if you want, you can do a little bit of plus RNG, because you don't want darts. You just don't want darts in Girahim, especially no vertical darts, because the vertical darts are bad. Oh, see, running away from commentary. You know, playing. Hello.
I was supposed to say something funny, but I think I messed up and my voice didn't connect in time.
Unlucky. Can try to say something funny again if you want to. Good one. Good one.
I tried.
You got me there. That was a very good one. So yeah, Girahim doing a lot of darts. That's not good. And let's hope Lepe did the right positioning for his reverse bit warp. and then, yeah. But overall, pretty solid Girahim still.
Girahim 2 tends to be a little bit easier than Girahim 1. I
Yeah.
think most people think that.
Well, at least in any percent, Girahim 2 is harder. But yeah. I guess it's mostly because people are actually tend to be like more familiar with the game after that time. Because like they get an understanding. Because Skyward is so early that you not really have a feel for the motion control yet. And
Girahim is probably one of the, well, his third, depending on which Girahim fight it is, he's probably one of the harder bosses.
yeah,
But,
definitely one of the cooler ones.
Yeah, definitely.
Sword fight is always cool. So yeah, Lepe did everything correctly and he's able to do the reverse split warp, which is nice. Sadly, Lepe does not have the ancient cistern clip, so he just has to do it normally.
No cistern clip.
Feels bad, man.
Shoutouts to Indy.
Yeah. Who now can do 2 cistern clips.
Also, shoutouts to me for having the official worst version of the game.
1.1.
Worse than PAL, it's North American 1.1.
Amazing. So yeah, this is why you can see the flames were back up right there, which is because of the story flag. So the game is like, you didn't water the frog. You just cheated. You only cheated yourself. Not only cheated the game, but also yourself. So let's back up. So, but we want to die anyways because Kitcot is now doing the back in times that he missed. Lip having some trouble with the high flip right there. So Kitcot is doing the 2 parent bits that Lip already did. And Lip should really get that high. There you go. So the high flip is like you have to, after the side hop is finished, you have to do a backflip, and that one will be higher and allows you to get on ledges you cannot grab on. Nice bomb, by the way. Didn't really work out the way he wanted it to. Normally you want to like have a bomb at the bottom in order to get rid of like one of those zombie goblins. So yeah, Kitcot is now doing the Battle of the Goddess skip. But he actually does not have to talk to Gruis anymore because he did it on his run file. The only thing he has to do is enter behind the temple. So that is nice. By the way, this is also why file 3 gets saved in Farron. Because file 3 is right after he talked to Gruis. So this allows him to, you know, have the right layer. Otherwise, the Fire Sanctuary, beating Fire Sanctuary, gives you another Steel Temple layer, so he wouldn't be able to get the Battle of the Goddess anymore. So, and the reason why he needs to get the Battle of the Goddess because he needs to race the Gate of Time, which only happens after you get a Battle of the Goddess.
I think a big reason this route is faster, or a big reason this route is faster than the route Lepe is doing is probably because you don't have to go behind the temple to do this RBM.
Yeah. It's like the biggest thing, basically.
And obviously no Imprison 2 story RBM, which lepelog is probably going to do, but Japanese has the text, so, or the heavy text speed, so there's not really a need to skip that as much anymore.
Yeah. It's not really that much faster than just going there normally. So yeah, Lepe sadly does not do lily pad skip because he did not waste his whole morning to try it. So,
Kitcot's saving and quitting out to file 3 to activate back in time because for some reason after that cutscene, back in time just won't activate in the sealed temple, and there's a few different places like that, but yeah, that is of course one of them.
And he's now going to do the other one that Lepo already did, which is the Song of the Hero skip. So this one is closer than normal. So this time you actually can see like the effect of it quite fast. And again, he's now stealing this statue's flag. So he's checking with file 1, getting the flag on file 1. And now it's important to not select, like not update anything in file 2, so file 1. So if you, for example, bonked H3 with file 1, he will lose that flag. So yeah. He can only steal this one flag for now. But it's the only one he needs in order to activate the Lake Floria Gates cutscene. Which allows him to skip the Song of the Hero. It's quite sad that flag is in Farron. But since Song of the Hero skips like 70 minutes, it's quite worth it. Although we have to go to Farron. But a lot of these things obviously would be better if they were on Skyloft. But sometimes we're just unlucky. So yeah. Also, he has to reload the temple anyways in order to trigger the imprisoned 2. So that is why he will bit save at behind the temple. Since right now he has the layer 2, which does not allow him to trigger the imprison. So yeah, that is why he will also save there.
So coming up here is going to be this weird bit save where we don't actually just save, we specifically select save and quit. And why that is, I can't explain. So yeah. This is your part.
So basically, first part is important. You do not select the statue with file 1, otherwise, again, you do a update and you lose the flag. And the save and quit for some reason, if you change your file while the save and quit happens, you don't update your flags on file 1. So normally, like the saving part also does a lot of updating, and it appears to. We're not 100% sure why it does appear, but it appears to lose the flag because of this update.
Because reasons.
This is yeah. I mean, this is basically just an update happening. I mean, saving obviously updates a lot of things, and which can like destroy the flag we need to. So it makes sense, but it's quite technical, and nobody is really looking into it quite that much.
I thought that was why. I just didn't want to say that was why and have it not be why and then look like a complete idiot.
I understand.
And then leave in embarrassment and leave you alone again.
Doing math again, right?
Yeah, math. or excuse me, so that I don't offend Kitcot, maths.
Maths.
It's plural somehow, apparently. I don't know. I didn't know there was more than one math.
Apparently. So yeah, Prison 2.
Anyway, this coming up right here for Kitcot is the text that we would skip, or part of the text that we would skip if we did the Imprison 2 RBM. But of course, Japanese text is fast enough that this particular route can skip that RBM and still be faster.
Yeah. But it's not the case for English, which is why Lepa's doing it. It's also nice, you can see another bit you normally wouldn't see. So something you can look forward to. Right there, he tries to hit all his fingers in order to be able to take this vent up. Otherwise, it gets blocked by imprisoned. And he's trying to a precise jump slash. Got it, nice. In order to skip the cutscene where the imprisoned throws you off your head. Because you're in the air, you cannot get the cutscene. It's basically the same thing with the ropes in Earth Temple very early on. So yeah, that's very nice.
No, I said the text that we would skip, and then I corrected myself to say, or it's part of the text that we would skip.
Yeah, because technically, because we also skipped the second part of the triggering cutscene.
Somebody needs new ears, Floha.
So there are like two parts of this, because there's like once when you go near the pedestal, Imper talks about the Goddess Sword, and then you need to raise it skyward in order to trigger to open the Gate of Time. And then there is the actual Imprison 2 trigger. And with Back in Time, you can actually only get the second one, which is the only one we need. So this is the other part of the text we skip, and we don't get the Gru's text because we actually get the flag for it, but it doesn't ever get committed. So yeah, it's interesting. And we have the flag for it, but it doesn't happen because of no committing. So for English, it's definitely faster to do it this way. So nice. There's not much left now. Basically everything accomplished. Only thing we now need to do is beat the game. And apparently Kitcot wants to go for True Master Sword skip.
Ooh.
He wants to flex.
Very fancy. So this is the final stretch of the game. Just the like very last stuff that we would normally do after Skykeep in a casual or glitchless playthrough. Just Horde, last Garahim fight, and Demise.
Yeah.
All of this coming right after Imprison 2.
It's nice that we can do this. Some of the Euro is not the most fun part of the game.
Yeah.
Well, I guess Goblin Base and Goblin Base.
Tad Tons and Goblin Base are pretty fun.
Yeah, that's true. But not the way we are doing it. Well, we'll mostly skip the part. At least the Goblin Base, 100% we kind of skip the purpose of it. But it's still pretty cool. So yeah, this door, they didn't make any security measures for this door. Don't ask me why. You can just enter it.
They just didn't. That's all you need to know. Skyward Sword, ladies and gentlemen, that's the answer.
They just, for once, they just thought there would no need for a security. It would even be so easy to secure it, but they said like, nah. Why should we? I mean, just imagine that there are no flyers in Skyloft, so you don't get picked up back on land if you fall off. You could actually not, and you could not use Back in Time. Straight up. It would be completely useless. We'd just keep voiding out Back in Time.
I'll tell you what, this doesn't seem like a terribly bad first fight. Well, it wasn't.
Yeah, but you can see that it's definitely losing time.
Yeah, definitely you can tell it's not easy. Because obviously the difference between the normal Master Sword and the True Master Sword is really mostly not very much, but the two big things are that if you slash with the True Master Sword, it'll knock enemies off balance if they block it, and the True Master Sword Skyward Strike charges instantly.
Yeah.
In hero mode. Going for Horde Skip now, gets
There
it
you go.
flawlessly.
One heart though. And knowing Kitcot, he probably does not have a ferry.
Nah, he got one.
Ah, sad.
You won. Yeah, we need him to. We need him to die so that yeah, make it intense. Let lepelog catch up. Have him step away, get a drink.
Yeah, it's just English and Japanese. It's just too big. Honestly, Lepo did a great job being able to defeat the other GP opponents and also American opponents.
Not that we expected anyone else but Kitcot to win the whole thing.
Well, yeah, I mean, he definitely puts a lot of into this game. And he's also one of the few players that actually has the Japanese version. I mean, if someone like Jace would have played, he probably had also a good shot at winning. But he was not available, sadly. But he is available for the next monthly that's coming up. So, you know that. So this allows, so the next monthly will be, when will it be the next monthly again?
The 16th, so exactly 9 days from now.
Nice, so...
At 8 PM UTC.
There'll be a lot of runners running at once. So... Gonna be a lot of fun.
We have a lot of new runners coming in then as well.
True.
Some that have not been shown off at the monthlies yet, not gotten as much exposure.
That is very true.
So everybody be sure to be there 8 PM UTC for the next Skyward Sword monthly any % race to give the new guys some love.
Yeah, being able to bully them all the time because they don't get the tricks first try. No. He got this. And Kitcot also got this, but it's gonna be hard to get the one cycle in here. So, basically, if you don't have the instant charge, you're not able to get the Skyward stab in, which is quite unfortunate. So he has to do the 2 cycle. Actually 3 cycle on this.
You wretched brat!
So right there, as you can see, the Skyward Strike is slower. So now on to the final boss. But damage-wise, the Blue Master Sword does not have any difference. Fight telling us that there's 0 chance to win this. But we'll show her otherwise. So the mice is hit based, so it's important for him to get the right hits in and stagger him like this. Oh, he's out of. Well, he is apparently a fairy, so.
Or not.
He does not have a fairy. You lied.
So you were right. Well, he definitely got one in Fire Sanctuary.
Coming into commentators and then just lying around. That's not nice.
Well, you know what? I saw him got one in Fire Sanctuary. Okay? Excuse me. I didn't see him. I heard him get it because I was focusing my vision on my map at the time.
The thing is, he got it, but then he gets damage from going down to the Imprison 2 again. So that's where he he needs to get the fairy in the sealed temple in order to have one.
But yeah. Anyway, Demise fight, super choreographed, and if done well, it looks sick.
It's a really cool fight. I think it's like, if you're good, it is gonna be an awesome fight. If you're bad, it's gonna be very hard. I mean, some people think it's really easy because people can do it blindfolded, but it's actually really hard. But people just try a lot in order to get it blindfolded.
Yeah, it comes from like omega high levels of experience.
Yeah. Definitely not easy. Especially this attack does 400 damage, so it just kills him at this point.
Yep.
So that's like one hit, you're like pretty dead. But the mice is dead. GG.
And with that, Kitcot wins the Skyward Sword any % tournament.
Should have probably said that earlier.
The first one ever. GG.
GG. G to the G's. And Leper at the moment is doing the new bit you didn't see yet. He's doing the Imprisoned 2 RBM. Where it's important to not have file 1 selected when going near the pedestal and when rising a Skyward Sword, and then when it's filled up, select file 1 and you trigger the second part of the cutscene. Like the second part, the second text thing. And then he has to start at the moment that Cruz leaves the door. And then he has RBM'd it. Yeah, so apparently Kitcot's gonna join us, so that's nice. Gonna talk a little bit about his run. Amazing now being the finalist, being the best Skyward Sword runner this tournament. Yeah, so Leper is now going to do Imprisoned 2, and hopefully he also gets the quick kill. Trying to hit all of the fingers in order to get up here. Everything works, that's good.
Well done.
Now he just needs to get the cutscene skip. The cutscene skips.
Oh no, he hit.
Starting with a hit. That is.
He hit the spike first. That is really unfortunate, and I don't think he could. I don't think he could probably get that again if he tried.
Yeah. But the thing is, he has like less setup time because the person starts throwing you off. So, I mean, technically, I guess a task would do it, probably, but
Maybe.
hello.
Hello.
Cut.
Hi.
How does it feel to be the best Skyward Sword runner in this tournament?
Good.
It's nice.
How does it feel to have world record with lily pad and true master sword skip?
Yeah, I'm a bit disappointed in how I did the lily pad skip. Like, in practice I was doing it like 1 minute, 2 minutes, like 3 minutes worth. This one took me like fucking 10 minutes, so...
Yeah. Well, it's
I
always...
mean, that's how it works. In practice, everything seems easy, and in a run, it just doesn't happen.
Yeah, I was quite nervous though, so it makes sense. But I mean, I did it, so not bad.
Yeah. Well done.
Yeah. Also, I don't know if you noticed, but I didn't have a fairy for that, so...
Yeah.
for Horde.
We did. I thought you got one in Fire Sanctuary, but I
did, but I used it up because I was like, nah, I'll just do it without a fairy.
Oh,
Like,
fair
if,
enough.
like if I'm gonna skip the true muscle, I might as well go all the way.
For some reason, Kitcot does not like to do the side hop to save some health.
Yeah.
Which
I,
Leper didn't.
Pepper got a little mad. Pepper got a little mad at me because he's like, wait a minute, you lied to me. He didn't get a he didn't get a fairy.
Yeah.
So I said, well, sorry, I was too focused on my maths. With an S. Are you happy?
Yeah, with an S, of course.
So this is gonna be the last hit on Imprison, and then Lip is also now going to go into the end game. Gonna be the second best runner in this tournament, which is quite impressive. Remembering that he's playing on PAL.
Yeah, and there were 10 runners, and that was cool. Basically. Like, tournament started with 10 runners, like, in February, and... yeah, now it's down to 2. Or 1, but still.
Yeah.
So Lepa having to use the Grusinator to knock the Imprisoned down.
Yeah. The only reason why we have Grusinator is because we beat Ancient this turn.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there would be no Cuisinator.
Unless you're an
And-
emulator, in that case you can just skip Age Assistant, but we're not an emulator because that's banned.
Well, you still don't have the Cuisinator,
I mean-
though.
I mean, we could always make an emulator category.
True.
Well, yeah.
But that would just be like emulator, not 80%.
Well, yeah, emulator. and
Emulator
80%.
percent.
Yeah, emulator.
Yeah. For Skyward Sword category extensions page.
Well, maybe, but I think for now we'll stick to real runs, and maybe we'll actually be able to skip Ancient Cistern without the use of an emulator.
Hopefully, that would save like 20 minutes
yeah.
at least. Half an hour maybe.
Nah, I think about 20 minutes is good.
Yeah.
I think
yeah,
just like I think it's like yeah. I mean,
Just
we
with
do
Ancient
Ancient Cistern
Cistern.
really fast. That's like the point of it. So it probably would be like yeah, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, something like that. Just skipping the scale, for example, saves 8 minutes.
Well, and we could also do the faster version of the among the small time saves that would garner. We could do the faster version of the RBM inside of Earth Temple, which is with pivot text.
Yeah, that's true. It's also another thing. Because, yeah, then if you're inside the academy, you can't get the Thunderhead cutscene, which doesn't allow you to get the Thunderhead open. Also, like the big flying section to Thunderhead, man.
We need more smart people on the Skyward Sword Discord. We rely too much on Pepper and Azer.
Agreed.
Yeah, it's just,
With that said, their help is very much appreciated.
thank you.
Shoutouts to Pepper for finding the best back in time ever with Sky RBM.
Yeah. All my things that I found goes around diving, most of it at least. Because Patrick, the only use of Patrick at the moment is getting the diving ability early.
Everything that I've found has been obsolete.
Yeah, that's true. And that's because
Actually,
of me.
yeah, thanks, man. Ugh.
No problem, dude.
No, that's not entirely true. Well, technically Jace found it, but I gave him the idea for the Phi cancel thing in front of Deepwoods.
Yeah, that's true.
The only thing that I found was a Phi text skip in Sandship, which actually turned out to be 15 seconds slower.
Nice. Well,
I actually found a similar Phi cancel. I call it Phi cancel just because that's the easiest thing in Skykeep, but it's frame perfect, and I never got it on video.
Nice.
Yeah. I think the one in Sandship I caught was like roughly frame perfect, but he had like a good timing with the book up in and stuff.
Yeah, it's basically because calling Phi takes like a frame or so, so
Yeah.
you have like time to get it over another cutscene that's playing. And then, like basically you start an event, and that event gets interrupted by another event, and that way the event just doesn't play fully. Probably the case for a lot of things we can probably do, but it requires being able to call Phi at a frame perfect time. Like nearly frame perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, with the new changes, we're probably like close to 2 minutes of like time save now. If you do like lily pad skip, the new route, and then all the changes from world record, which is like doing the Battle of the Goddess skip at the end. We're probably going close to 2 minute time save.
Yeah, see guys, I told you a 207 would be possible eventually.
Yeah, and considering that SVA's run was incredible, but he still lost a minute on Imprison 2, you have like 3 minutes of time save.
I think you could get like a 206 potentially. That's like really
insane. That is
yeah,
insane.
you have to get everything perfect first try to
That
get
would
a
be like
206.
that would be like SVA's run plus perfect execution on the new stuff with the new route,
and
plus
lip skip.
plus a good Imprison 2.
Yeah.
Maybe even plus a good True Master Sword skip.
Yeah.
Although I still think True Master Sword skip will only end up losing you time.
Yeah.
Probably.
As far as I've found, yeah. So.
I might look into that. I might look to see if we can get an easy, reliable, quick fight.
Hmm.
I mean, the worst part, I actually like the bokoblins at the start.
Now race Chase. Yeah, now you have to race Chase, Kitcot.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
want to. Yeah. Bring it on. Yeah.
So, going into the horde, and he has a 2 Master Sword, so he'll probably be taking care of those bokoblins.
Having a much easier time.
Yeah.
He's gonna have than Kitcot.
Breaking their barriers, their blocking.
I gave myself a heart attack at one point. It was like with the 2 Southos. I killed one of them, and then they're like coupling around me. I was like, oh god. And yeah.
Yeah. The problem is like you can't you can't break their cover, so you will always your sword will always get completely blocked if one blocks them, which can be quite hard sometimes.
We need a Skyward Sword All Dungeons community race. Been talking about it for too long and not actually doing it.
I mean,
I
we have
agree. It's just I don't know all dungeons. I mean, I know all dungeons, but I don't know the actual all dungeons category. I just know old any percent, which technically is all dungeons. So,
not getting hard skip.
Love it
So,
just missing.
I mean, we can finally do it because we finally have a route that is the fastest.
Yeah, we have a good route now. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I
A
don't.
decent
I
route.
probably wouldn't.
It's not perfect, but it's very good.
yeah. So yeah,
I mean,
people be learning all dungeons, so we can actually have a like community race. Yeah.
I mean, I was planning on trying to race Indy or someone this weekend, but we'll see.
So all
That's
done
just-
is about 3:30.
Yeah.
So
But speaking of races, Flower versus Hugo, grudge match when?
yeah.
Like that needs to happen at some point. I'm sorry, it just does. Like there's no
Yes,
getting
Indy,
around it.
Let's do it, Indy. Let's go. I'm gonna kick your butt and make sure Nay's watching it happen. Sunday.
Oh
Dang.
boy.
All right, fair enough. That's fine. Nah, I'm probably not doing the stupid bed trick route.
I mean, you don't have to do the bad trick to do the best route. But the bad trick saves, time.
So wait. Let me ask you this. So isn't the bed trick route the one that like is supposed to save like 2 minutes, where we have
No.
diving on the early game file,
No.
or does bed trick have nothing to do with that?
No, that just combined saving 2 minutes. So
Okay.
the new route saves about 1 minute and 20 seconds. But it does skip through Master Sword. It has to.
So, is it the LMF delay route that I've been learning, or is it something even more new?
No, it's the new Ancient Cistern LMF delay route. So the only thing that is different is that the reverse bit whip into Ancient Cistern is the one where you get the whip first. So the one where you clip into the whip chest rim right away.
Okay.
It's like the only change really, but this allows us to move like stuff around,
By the way, that was the fake Zelda. As you can see, lepelog
Yeah.
dowsing for her. It doesn't. So, yeah,
So,
I thought that it was the best route was the one that got diving on early game file.
I mean, it's faster to do that, but
Yeah.
it's only like 40 seconds faster. The reason is because you lose time again, due to not having the perfect setup for like using the diving.
We also need a 100% community race.
Yes,
That would be,
and that one has to be with Patrick, please.
Yeah. Yes. Okay. I will do the 100% with bed trick, because the probably minute or two that I would lose to bed trick in a 100% run is nothing compared to the time I lost in my PB.
Yeah.
Also,
Like 7 hour run.
if you lose like 1 minute, you still save time.
Yeah. Really? Oh my god.
Yeah, and 100% it actually is a lot of time. It's actually a lot of time.
Bed trick is so stupid. I need to
It's only one.
look more at that.
But yeah, it saves 2 minutes for sure. 2 minute time save for sure on 100%. Maybe a little bit more. So you have quite the time. I'm gonna run the game. Well, I'm actually thinking about maybe bingo one day.
Bingo's fun.
I like the idea. I'm like a router in heart, so being able to route on the fly sounds like a lot of fun. So maybe one day, but
Yeah. So like, bingo is essentially just looking at the card and going, "Oh fuck," and then you route it as you're playing it, and it's stressful, but it's fun.
the way I would make runs is I would like do my own route where like RPM all the bosses away, so I don't have to do the fighting, which is hard, which I cannot do yet. So I'll just end up not fighting the bosses, and it will look like I'm really good because I'm getting a decent time at my first run, but in the end I just skipped everything that is hard.
Yeah. Speaking of bingo, we got Bingo-thon with Skyward Sword. I think 30th of May, around that. I don't know the exact date. I've looked at the schedule. I can't remember it, but it's at some point. So
Yeah.
check in and watch that. It's I think me versus Flower versus Leper. And it's bingo,
Sorry.
obviously.
I can commentate at Bingo-thon.
Hog.
I can probably tell everyone which is the best route and how they have to play.
Yes. Yes, be sure to
GG.
give
GG.
and GG to lepelog,
GG.
finishing with a 240.33, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, be sure to also check out Bingo-thon, which is coming up in a couple weeks or something. Give lepelog, Floha, and Kitcot some love. As well as, even though it's a different game, our very own Indie Kenobi running Knights of the Old Republic bingo.
G freaking G.
Hello.
Well done,
Nice.
lepelog.
Hello.
How does it feel to be the second best Skyward Sword runner this tournament?
I was not happy with this run. This was
Yeah.
worse than last run. A lot of things went wrong, but I mean, whatever. Now I can relax and focus on all dungeons or something.
Nice. Or low percent.
Yeah, sure.
Low percent.
I'd rather do any percent normal mode.
Hurting
I'd
me
rather-
my soul.
I'd rather do no bit.
Well, I did
Actually,
the
no.
route as well, so.
To be honest, that actually probably isn't true. That part probably isn't true.
No bit isn't that bad.
No, no,
I
no
mean,
bit is
It's
No bit
alright.
is long.
but it's
Yeah.
just long. Yeah.
It's like kind of a chill. It's like a 6-hour chill run.
It's chill, yeah.
Yeah, it's like old any percent, just like an hour longer.
And more chill here.
Well, actually,
Much-
no bit.
Much
is-
more chill.
No reset is 1 hour longer, no bit is not as long. Considering that you can actually do some of your skip. With no bit. Wait, I'm wrong. No
I mean,
RBM is what I'm
No
looking at.
RBM,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I was a little bit confused with that. Yeah, no
'Cause you
bit
can
is quite long.
yeah.
Very long. Indeed.
Because
Because there's like nothing else you can do in this game than bit.
Okay, so yeah, I don't know if we're kind of finishing up. I just do want to say thank you to all the runners of this tournament for making it a pretty somewhat decent tournament. Like, so we got 64-bit Link, Dr. Sensei Hugo, Bigastroff, Flower 258, Bio, Indie Kenobi, Chimera, Dish, Lepelog, and me. Yeah, I think I said Dish.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Cool. So
We-
yeah,
we
thanks
need
to all
a-
those runners.
Oh, what about I don't know if you said Chimera.
Yeah, I said Chimera.
Okay.
Yeah,
We
well-
should have set up a crowning ceremony for you. An award ceremony.
Yeah. Also, thanks to all the kind
Next
of
time.
commentators of this tournament, most notably Pepernicus.
And thanks to all our amazing restreamers, especially Ricky of Kokiri, who is restreamed like the past like 3 or 4 races at least.
Yeah, he's done a lot of them. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Shout
So
out
thank
to
you kindly.
for having us.
Yeah. So we got scheduled monthly, 16th of May, 8 p.m. UTC. That one is 8 p.m. UTC. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, confirmed. Be there.
Let's hope to get all these runners in because we actually have a lot of new runners.
Yeah.
Excited to see
Yeah.
them in action.
And I'll also be doing the actual lily pad route and not just the skip. So
Yeah.
stay tuned for me messing that up again.
That time it's definitely
That's-
required.
That round looks very interesting. If it wasn't for the part where if you fail the positioning for the reverse bit warp, it's really terrible.
Yeah, because you have to do the whole. You have to do a whole long bit again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the scaling back in time is quite finicky. But you'll get used to it. I was
Yeah.
able to do it.
I got like, how long? 9 days? That's enough
Yeah.
time.
Yeah,
I mean, the trial is not the problem. The problem is that you have to redo it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And doing the fence hop without opening a splash screen is also quite scary.
Oh god, yeah, that's...
You know.
this is like secretly all our attempts at trying to scare Kitcot out of doing this route.
Not really.
I mean, if you're gonna try to scare me, please don't, because I can guarantee you it's gonna be way slower than what I would normally be doing.
Ooh, spoopy route. Ooh.
So the sad thing actually is, you can actually get the log down in order to enter the ancient system via the log and don't need the fence hub. Problem though is, the layer after getting the scale is the layer with the map prompt, which crashes back in time.
Nice.
So while you can enter that way, you'll just crash since you can't
How
change
does-
you can change your file in order
Oh,
to
yeah.
skip the map prompt.
No, how does opening the map crash it, but entering something like Farron and back in time, or the
Well, it's basically
Silent Run
like
doesn't,
another overlay over the
That's a
title
good
screen.
question.
Yeah.
I think
mean-
it's just another overlay. It's like everything it takes up
True.
another overlay. It's just too much.
True.
For
yeah.
example, like going back to the title screen while being on a title screen crashes the game as well. So like
Trippy.
if you would like if you're at the save, if you're at the save prompt, then you just say like save and quit, and then quit. You know, the game will crash because it can't be
Yeah.
on the title screen and then go on the title screen. It's just another layer, I think, of something.
Yeah,
It's
no,
I
makes
don't, I don't think anybody has really researched why
Yeah,
stuff crashes a bit.
It just does.
Yeah,
yeah.
which
It definitely has something to do with like actors and stuff.
with
There's
loading. That the game
Yes.
has to load too much stuff.
Yeah.
Because I think having the title screen up definitely takes up some memory or some active
Yeah.
space or whatever.
Yeah.
Or if it's just the
Yeah.
rel file or something.
And then there's
Yeah.
definitely something to do with, like some events just don't work in back in time, which just also can cause a crash. And funny thing I actually find out recently is you can actually crash a game in the Farron trial if you select a new game file, because
really?
there's so much stuff coming up with like all these buttons that the game just instant crashes.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's like
Nice.
the first
In
instance where
short,
we can.
it's very easy to crash back in time in Skyward Sword.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like a miracle that we can go to Farron.
Yes. I mean, with activating diving, you can actually get it, but the way we are doing it, which is the fastest way for any percent, it's definitely a miracle. Completely miracle. I mean, back in time in general is a miracle.
True.
Yeah, no, if we didn't have the kind of, you know how like when you fall off Skylift, there's like this knight person who brings you back up and he goes yada yada yada, and you get really annoyed because you just have to waste time. If that cutscene wasn't there, back in time would be impossible.
Yes.
Yes.
So
Well, you could do
that
it,
would-
but you could just void out
yeah,
forever.
you
Yeah.
void out, yeah. You wouldn't do anything with it.
That would be the best back in time.
Yes. It's voiding out forever. That would be a tease.
Anyway,
Yeah, well, that's it, I think.
there we go.
I think we got everything said.
congrats Kitcot on the #1 spot in the tournament.
Yeah, congrats.
Yay.
Congrats Lepelog for the silver and finalist. And yeah, I think that's it.
If I'm not mistaken, Deesh, you got third, didn't you?
Yes, but it's not worth mentioning.
Why?
Well,
good.
why do you think? Take a look back at that VOD and maybe you can tell me.
The important thing is you made it
I'm
to
so
that
sorry.
match.
Yeah.
To be fair, Douche, you did play about like how many matches? Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You played 6 matches, so that's the most out of anyone. And you made it as far as you did, so GG.
Yep.
I mean, I only had to play 3, so.
At least I got the intense revenge against Chimera. Even that
You
was
did, yeah.
that was one heck of a match.
Yeah, that was definitely close, yeah.
Alright then. Thank you everyone so much for watching. Thank you to Copernicus and Deesh in the end for coming in for commentary. Thank you Kitcot and Lepelog for the amazing race. And congratulations Kitcot for the grand finish. You can follow the racers in the chat. I put the links there a minute ago. I will do it again. Follow the commentators. And as far as Zelda Speedruns goes, we have the grand final of the Open Air Time Randomizer Standard Tournament happening tomorrow at the same time, 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. noon for me. And other than that, we're done for the day. As they all said, we do have a Skyward Sword monthly any percent race happening on May 16th, I believe was the date. So
Yes,
Yes.
May 16th.
May 16th. Awesome. So looking forward to that. As for right now, we're going to go ahead and raid Gymnast 86. He's doing a Twilight Princess any percent practice run. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you had a great time and have a great day.
Lepelog.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye all.